quick update on the Thursday night into Friday system that we're expecting across portions of the Northeast. This week, it's really going to be the first potentially accumulating snowfall across the region, so I figured that I'd make a quick video on it. So the main difference that you really see between the GFS and the Canadian is actually really subtle. I was looking at the maps this morning, and if you look at it, there's really not that much of a difference in terms of the upper air pattern overall. So it took me a little while to see, okay, what is the main reason that you're seeing not much snow on the GFS, whereas you actually have a snowstorm on the Canadian and on the European with a significant impact across interior Northeast Southern New England. So if we take a look at morning Thursday, the American and the Canadian models are more or less identical. They're very similar in what they're showing. Ridge along the west coast, NAO neutral, a little bit of ridging through Iceland, but neutral to maybe slightly positive. And then we have our system moving through the northern plains. So pretty similar on both models. The Canadian, you can already see that this feature is a little bit further south and stronger than the American model. And then if we swing through a little bit more, I just want you to keep your eye sort of on this Hudson Bay upper low, because that's really going to be the main difference between the two models. So GFS, this is a little bit further south than the Canadian. And if we move it forward to overnight Thursday into Friday, so 6Z Friday, now you can really see the difference. So this feature's stronger on the GFS and further south. And there's a clear connection between this kicker and this main piece of energy that'll be the source of our storm. Whereas on the Canadian, there's more separation here between this feature, which is further to the west, and our storm. So because of this separation here, this can actually dig further to the south. You get a stronger surface low, obviously more upward motion, and you get a more significant impact, a stronger storm with swath of snow further to the south. GFS is here, and here's your Canadian. You can see the difference in the position of that feature and the connection between these two pieces, which is, in my opinion, the main difference between the two models. You can see that along the west coast, it's pretty much identical in terms of the ridge axis. You have this ridge up here, which is also pretty similar, and this positive NAO as well looks pretty similar, but it's this feature here. And if we move it forward, this is the Canadian here, 12Z Friday, and the GFS. So Canadian, GFS, Canadian a lot further south and stronger with our low, as I said before. So here's the NAO forecast, the ensemble forecast. I guess it's the GFS ensemble, and you could see that slightly positive to neutral. So it's not really going to be a historic storm here, but we're going to be getting some impacts potentially across the interior Northeast Southern New England. And again, the European is more on the side of the Canadian in terms of snowfall amounts. So this is 250, and this sort of illustrates what I was saying before. On the Canadian, this features further back. This is stronger. American model, this is further in, weaker, and you get the difference in response at the surface. So yeah, this is the surface map on the Canadian model. Snow, interior Northeast Southern New England, surface low, not super strong, but you do get something Boston, upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania into um, you know, southern New Hampshire and into Atlantic Canada. But if you look at the GFS, the recent update, you can see that it's more of a frontal wave with not really a well-defined surface low, so further north with more of a connection with the Hudson Bay feature, and um, and no snowstorm across southern New England, really. Um, just mainly northern New England, those frontal dumping of maybe 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches of snow, maybe a bit more once you get across this area, but that's what we're seeing. So we'll see which model ends up being closest to correct. My hunch is that the Canadian and the European will end up being closer because of the consensus there, and um, that's my gut feeling, but we'll see what happens.